Now, the right design for lighting will be a big part of that vision. So that's what we're doing today, designing perfect lighting for a collaborative workspace.
I think lighting as part of the vision is really, really important because it sets the ambiance for the space. It really creates the feeling in the environment. And so having the proper lighting to do the work is important.
But first things first, it all starts with the ceiling grid because that's where the light fixtures are hung and the sound issues are addressed. So in designing this ceiling, my thought was noise reduction first, and then how do I light this space? I definitely want to use LED linear light fixtures for uniform brightness and energy savings, as well as fun elements of design like decorative cloud formations and drop ceilings to address sound and aesthetics. The employees who will be working here are coming from a space which was poorly lit with fluorescent lighting. So I think bringing in a lot of daylight and mixing that with LED and more efficient lighting systems will make for more productive employees. I met with Browne from Armstrong today, their principal scientist. He put me at ease for the design decisions I've already made. It's really a kind of situation where form meets function in such a beautiful way because I really wanted to utilize these Armstrong decorative products.
At Armstrong, we work closely with architectural leaders, designers, facility managers, building owners, occupants, all people that touch the built environment. So we're constantly hearing about design challenges. So if an architect says that they have a need for a certain type of lighting integration, then we will turn that into product development for our ceiling tile products, our suspension systems. We have suspension systems that allow for easy lighting integration. We have cloud construction that comes in a kit. You can't see the hanger wires. It literally looks like a suspended absorptive ceiling cloud.
After talking with Sean, we're going to go with Armstrong's Tech Zone ceiling. It will allow us to integrate the lighting as well as all the other elements we're going to need for the building. With the Armstrong ceilings underway, I'm now ready to turn to the specific challenge that awaits us in lighting. The people I've found to help me bring state-of-the-art products that definitely shed light on the challenge. For now, we are turning our attention to the interior building lights. My challenge is to create lighting within the building that will improve both the quality of the workspace and be energy efficient.
One of the biggest challenges presented to me by my client was that he needs to fit 54 employees into one bullpen area. To properly light that space is a challenge. So, I really need to find the right product to light the space properly.
There's a lot to consider, and I wanted to bring in the right people with the expertise to make sure I was creating an environment that will not only be well lit, but will promote productivity. So I've brought in lighting designer Alejandro Vargas from Miami Lighting Design and Associates, and Tom Schumaker from Acuity Brands Lighting, so that I can outline the design concept and the lighting challenges.
I have a couple areas that I want to talk to you guys about. We have the bullpen area, which is going to seat 54 employees in cubicles. I also have private offices. Each office has a window, so there is a lot of natural daylight that comes in. The offices have glass fronts to allow that natural daylight to come into the bullpen, but these bullpen areas are going to be a little bit darker. So we need to address and be careful about how we light these spaces so employees can have a more efficient and productive workspace.
Right.
The other area of concern for me are these meeting areas and boardrooms. In these spaces, they're a little bit more formal. We'll have clients from, other companies coming to see us, and so these spaces we need to light and make sure that they don't interfere with our technology. Right. We have a lot of projection screens and things that could interfere with, the light could interfere
Right.
with the technology.
When I saw Kalyn's design, it was a completely open ceiling, and she had the ideas of putting this drop square ceilings in the different areas of the open office areas. So we have to work around the lighting around those ceilings, those drop areas. When you have challenges like this, brings you unique designs.
The product that we're going to recommend, that I recommend, is going to be from Mark Architectural. It's a slot fixture. It's designed to go into many Armstrong ceilings, including the Tech Zone ceiling that you have on this project.
I needed a light fixture that worked with the ceiling grid. It needed to be linear, LED, and of course, energy efficient. So seeing how the grid application worked with the light fixture from Acuity Brands, I could see it was a match made for a designer.
So this is an LED linear fixture that sits inside of our grid system?
Yes, it's all LED.
And I mean, we have a couple different areas, like in our flex space here, which is going to be our social digital room. We have a, sort of a different flexible, modular, movable seating arrangement for these employees. So what do you suggest for these areas?
Well, in these open areas, there's a recessed round product called the Magellan, and that's also from Mark Lighting. It's available in LED as well. The advantage that we have is that it's a round fixture, so it kind of gives the impression that you have a skylight in there and you're letting the outside light in, and we can control the intensity depending on what type of functions that you're trying to hold in that room.
Okay, very cool. And what kind of options do you have for the coves? Because Alejandro's talking about changing the lighting mechanism in the corridor.
The cove would be something similar to the other products. In fact, you know, going LED, you don't want maintenance, you don't want to change light bulbs into that cove. It'll be very difficult. So we want to put a high efficiency, high performance LED cove fixture that's going to give you some ambient light and indirect light in there, again addressing non-glare and a path of walkway for people to navigate their environment.
3 different lighting requirements for 3 different areas. I'm really happy with the plan we've come up with. Now, if we can get everything installed without any hitches, I will be completely satisfied.
It's always very satisfying when multiple pieces of this puzzle come together, like the contractors with wiring.com are now working with Acuity light fixtures and the Armstrong grid ceilings coming together. And it's fun to see all the different disciplines working together and making everything a reality.
What we have going in here in the executive offices is the Armstrong system, the ceiling grid system, which is made specifically for the Acuity lights that are going in here. You have these 8-foot-long T's and these 22-inch T's that create a 4-inch by 8-foot slot for the lights to come down into. And it's a great system, you know, I guess devised by Acuity and Armstrong to accommodate the lights. It's an awesome system. It's got a custom finish to it, and it's the first I've seen of it. It's really nice. Yeah, this system will be throughout the building, and in your larger bullpen areas, you have your 12-foot high ceiling grid, and then the clouds will drop below to help with the acoustics and sound deadening. And again, the Acuity lights are throughout, and it's a great system to have going in here.
I think the Acuity products, especially the Mark lighting fixtures, actually enhanced my vision for the space. It made it so much more beautiful and clean, and the way that these fixtures attach to the ceiling, it's just beautiful and seamless.
Now, the Wausau windows that we've installed have helped a lot in keeping our perimeter office spaces cool and filled with natural daylight. But these high-tech gadgets in the Acuity brand's LED lighting fixtures include cutting-edge technology known as daylight harvesting, which basically means a sensor measures the amount of daylight coming into the space and automatically adjusts itself. So it's an energy-efficient way to keep the proper amount of light in a space so that workers can be productive.
These products here will dim down to 0, dim to dark is what we call it, and allow a lot of flexibility in also incorporating daylight harvesting, which was something else that you talked about with a lot of windows on these office areas here. So the daylight harvesting is kind of a set it and forget it, and it provides you another layer of saving energy for your customer.
So because energy efficiency is so important, tell me a little bit about these daylight harvesting sensors.
So basically what we want to do is we want to bring in the natural light, and we want the natural light to be able to control the amount of light so we don't have too much glare. I don't need my LED light fixtures being on full power and full brightness when I have a lot of daylight coming through the windows. We've matched all of our chips in all the different products. So from fixture to fixture, from family to family, they're all going to be identical in the color temp. And that's going to be really important as you start walking through the space and you want the productivity from your employees, and you want to make sure that we're capitalizing on saving energy without having to do anything. It's going to be all automatic. Nobody has to touch anything for that.
When we went to Acuity and looked at all the options that they had for lighting, I was blown away by the fact that they do things that I would never even think about. From the daylight harvesting is an example where as the light gets brighter during the day, the lights automatically adjust to account for that light. And when it gets darker, if you happen to have a rainy day, then all of a sudden the lights come up to try and create that uniform environment, which was really neat. I never thought that something like that existed.
Audie Cash from Acuity Brands Lighting also paid us a visit and gave a lot of good insight into how this whole lighting system really works.
When you first walk into a space like this, you'll realize that it's very clean and attractive, and it's a beautiful work environment. But what's going on sort of behind the scenes in the light fixtures and in the controls is really a digital network working to make sure everything works in harmony. Throughout the space, there are a myriad of controls used. We have occupancy sensors to detect people and motion. We have daylight sensors to detect available sunlight. As the sunlight increases, the lights will dim. And manual controls in the wall to allow occupants to dim and control the lights as they see fit.
We said that this was going to be a high-tech building, and it starts from the top down. We've only started to install the technology that I've designed for the building. We're at that stage of construction when everything we do is very visible and really making a visible difference. We're starting to see how all the design is starting to come together. The Armstrong ceiling suspension system is installed throughout the building along with all the Acuity Brands lighting. We turn the lights on and they look fantastic. The Acuity Brands lighting LED linears in the bullpen area and the office spaces are really going to make a difference for the employees.
Being a production company, lighting plays a critical role in the filming of our productions. But I never thought that lighting would play such a large role in our office environments. And with Acuity lighting, the unbelievable technology, the cutting edge technology that they have in their lights, and the look and feel of the lights in the office environment was something I never expected to achieve. We expect to achieve it on the set, but not in the office, and they really went well beyond our expectations.
I have to admit it was a complicated process. It took a lot of coordination, a lot of communication, and a lot of site meetings between me, Armstrong, Acuity Brands Lighting, and Wiring.com. But I think the end result looks really clean, really modern, and the aesthetic lines are perfect. You know when people walk into a space and it just feels good and they don't know why? That's because of great design. And I think this ceiling just feels good, and it does so many other things than just look good. It creates symmetry, it provides intelligent lighting, and it saves energy.